This is Mel Daly. I'm a personal trainer, a mindfulness expert, and a life coach. I do a lot of things, and our work together is very holistic. In this video, I wanted to specifically talk more about the physical side of my work. So my clients come to me for a variety of reasons. Some might come very specifically for the physical side of our work and really talking about their health, their fitness, their body. And I have a lot of clients who come to me for physical pain. It might be very chronic in nature. Some of that pain that seemingly doesn't have really an answer as far as how it happened, right? Kind of happened over time. There was not necessarily an incident, an injury per se. And so maybe they've gone to a lot of the traditional methods, right? They feel like they've tried everything. It's like, okay, I've done physical therapy. I don't know, it was okay. Didn't really work, great. Kind of just felt like it was cookie cutter, just sort of handing me some exercises, like telling me it's all about my core, right? There might be people who sort of like myself, right? Now that I've healed my own pain journey with my back, which you can read more about in my bio. People who are really looking for a very sustainable way of working out, none of this kind of fad, high intensity workouts, right? They've realized that they've kind of been overdoing it over the years, and they're really looking for something that's going to stick and not lead to these repeat injuries and aches and pains. So really looking for a genuine, long-term, optimized fitness routine that really works for their body, especially if they do have a more fragile body, right? Again, like myself, which is of course how all of this came about. And there's also the people who come to me who are really looking for overall a healthier, more genuine relationship with their body. There's a lot of components of that, right? It might include their relationship to food and nutrition. Of course, body image is a huge part of that, and there's so many components of that work, right? But they really sense, I guess all of my clients really sense that there is a different way that might be possible for them, that this isn't really working, right? The path that they're on. And on some level, they do already believe that, the body is holistic, and maybe these kind of piecemeal efforts that a lot of people offer, only focusing on the core, only focusing on, this perfect fitness routine, only focusing on nutrition and supplements, right? How do we piece it all together and in a way that is simple and effective and really feels sustainable for us and gets us feeling how we want to feel, and so that we can do the things we want to do in life, right? And not feel limited. That is a huge part of it. So really just feeling amazing, being able to sustain that, and being able to live that way. So as I was saying, this work is very holistic in nature, and with the understanding that everything in the body and the mind, the brain is connected. So we talk a lot about the brain-body connection in our work together. We really can't deny this anymore, right? It's not some airy-fairy woo-woo thing. It's science, right? I mean, the nervous system in and of itself is the manifestation of the brain-body connection. So it's not some weird thing, it's science. And this is the basis of a lot of our work together. So let's talk about the two sides of that coin, right? The brain and the body. So let's start with the body first. It's a little bit easier for most people to wrap their head around. So let's talk about some of the things that maybe go forgotten or overlooked when we talk about fitness and health and pain and chronic pain, right? If you go more of those traditional avenues and it really hasn't worked for you, right? And again, I've been down this path. So this is coming from years of my actual trial and error with myself, with other professionals, figuring out what works and doesn't work, and then years of running my own business related to, specifically dedicated to working with people who have back pain, and helping many clients heal from their back pain, be able to recover themselves, and get back to what they want to be doing. So on the body front, when we first start working together, it's kind of like we're going to do a little bit of an audit, right? It's like, okay, let's talk about what's going on over here, and what about this, and what about this, and there's all these pieces that come together in that sort of holistic, interconnected, source, and everything that we need to look at. That might be, right? Like, it's never one thing, it's how they all piece together. So we're going to look at all these factors, so that then we can get the whole functioning nice and healthy and happy. So the body, a huge thing is, even for myself, being in the fitness industry for about a decade now, I used to feel as though I was really connected to my body, right? I guess because during my workout, I could like feel my muscles, and I am aware of my muscles, and I know on paper intellectually about muscles, right? And joints, right? But are you actually connected to your body, right? And really discovering what that means. We'll talk about this more in a second, so hold that thought. We talk a lot about micro movements and joint mobility. A lot of people get really, they have all these fitness goals that we're told to have, lose the weight, have the, cut, ripped body, right? And so we just get kind of wrapped up in what everyone else is doing around these big, intense workouts. And we lose sight of, wow, like, are these individual parts of my body actually functioning properly, right? So we think about these big global movements like squat jumps and things like that, and lunges, and pressing overhead at the same time, and all this stuff. But in order for that whole movement to go well, and you not to experience pain, you to get the best results most efficiently, we have to ensure that all the individual pieces of your body can function on their own as a whole, right? None of these weird compensations that happen. So there's so much to talk about with that, but we'll leave it at that for now. So we go through a lot of micro movements and joint mobility. We talk about joint mobility and how that relates to the nervous system and your body's actual sense of safety. So this is a lot to go into in this one video, but just know that this relates to pain. And if any part of your body, particularly your brain and your nervous system, senses that your brain doesn't feel that you are safe, right? It puts on these protective mechanisms and tightens you up and creates pain. So we talk about that, right? Really learning your own body's limits, learning your body's unique rhythm, right? What does your body need? Releasing these ideas that everyone's workout routine should look the same, and that more is better as far as results, right? Really flipping a lot of things on their head. For instance, I feel better than I ever have before. I feel as though I look better than I ever have before. I even weigh less than I have ever before. Not that that matters, or something that I actually place a lot of emphasis on. Oh, there's the pup. Excuse him. And so you can see that less is often more, right? So hopefully the pup will we'll get the barks out of his system. We don't want to pause this video because it's easier to keep it in one chain. So we'll keep going here. And so there's a lot of overlooked components of the body that we dive into, and really looking at things in a new way, because the path we've been on hasn't been working, right? That's my experience, that's been my client's experience, and it's likely your experience. Now let's talk about the brain and the mind side of that brain-body connection and this whole holistic idea, right? So this is where it gets really interesting, right? We talk a lot about your beliefs about your body, your beliefs about pain and injury, your beliefs about working out. And this is really important because, you know, some people understand this and are already kind of engaged with that sort of line of thinking, but others, this takes a little bit of like, oh, are you sure? What are you talking about, right? But hang in there with me, and I have gotten so many people to see the truth of this, right? Even if they're a little bit skeptical. So our beliefs around these things matter. And again, this is not airy-fairy stuff, right? I'm a very logical person. I'm a Capricorn, if you know anything about that, which means you're very like grounded, practical, right? And so our brain actually finds what we're looking for, right? That's a whole other topic for another video, but know that there's an actual function in the brain, which is whatever you're focusing on, it finds more of, right? It's like you're shopping for the car, you're shopping for a Jeep Wrangler, and you start seeing Jeep Wranglers everywhere, right? So that's the simplest form of that. There's also a whole field of epigenetics, which shows that our beliefs actually change the expression of our genes. And again, this is real science, documented by real scientists, real researchers, real doctors. And then there's also the idea, and not idea, there is the whole field of research around the fact that our beliefs are filtered through our nervous system, right, through our brain, which literally impacts what our body decides to do. So like if we have an idea about something, right, this movement is not going to be good for me, right? Our brain takes that information, takes our belief into consideration, right? It says, wait, she's telling me that this is not going to be good for me. Hang on, let me kind of tighten up here and protect us, right? So it closes off those joints and protects us. So in a nutshell, again, we go much deeper into that when we actually work together, but it matters. Our beliefs about these things matter, and they have an actual physical reaction, right? We talk a lot about what we call hidden stress. A lot of the people I work with, no one's walking around like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. Like, I'm so aware of my stress, and I'm such a stress ball, and I'm pulling my hair out, and I know that stress is something I need to work on, right? Maybe a handful of people are self-aware of that, right? But a lot of people wouldn't consider themselves stressed. But sometimes we don't think we are stressed. Our mind doesn't think we're stressed, but our body does perceive what's happening in our brain as stress, right? Even the mere, existence of continually thinking, not being able to turn off your thoughts, even if those thoughts are really seemingly benign, right? They're not harmful. They're not like, oh my gosh, my life is a mess, and all these horrible negative thoughts. The act of overthinking and incessantly thinking and the mind not being able to turn off is technically a stressor to the body, right? So we talk about all these things, and then that leads into mindfulness, right? And how to actually get out of our head, right? Because we realize, oh wait, like no wonder I'm experiencing pain, right? Because I've been literally living in my head, right? Not actually in my daily life, physically present in my body, right? I'm more focused on what's happening up here than what's here in front of me, right? So you start to see all these connections. Oh, wait, is pain potentially my body trying to get my attention to bring me back into my body, right? Because I'm up here. And so all the pieces start to come together, right? And so some of these might be more relevant to you, some of them might not be, but we look at it all to make sure that we're leaving no stone unturned. Because a lot of this stuff, if you've been down this road before, pain, repeat injuries, just not getting the results you want, not feeling good, not having a good relationship with your body, it's time to look at things a little bit differently, right? And so this is where we start to talk about one of my favorite concepts, which is the other 23.5, right? So chances are, if you're here, you've done the workouts, you've done yoga maybe, you've done maybe even some meditation, or you listen to podcasts on personal development, or you stretch, right? You do some nice stretching, you do some core exercises, things like that. All the stuff that we've been told is very helpful. And it is, right? It's so helpful, and it's absolutely better than nothing and an amazing starting point. And it's half an hour to an hour out of our entire day. So we have to consider what is happening in the body and the mind the other 23.5 hours of the day. And this is where the work really happens, where we start to really understand what it means to actually be connected to our body, to actually know what that whole term mindfulness means. And again, not in some weird way, right? Really just on a practical level. What does that mean for you so that you can feel better physically and mentally, right? Because it's all connected. So we look at, becoming so aware of what is happening in your body and mind throughout the day, right? Tension. Are you unknowingly holding tension? Are you unknowingly holding strange, inefficient postures in your body? Are you unknowingly holding your breath or breathing very shallow from the chest, right? Which signals to your nervous system that you're in a state of stress, right? Even if you don't necessarily feel stressed. We talked about the hidden stress, right? All of these things, right? So we become extremely skilled at knowing our body and knowing our mind. And this is when all the pieces of the puzzle come together again, and the holistic nature of it all really starts to make sense, and it starts to give us tangible, it feels weird to say results, but as far as the things that we're looking for, right? Really healing that pain that has been lingering for so long, or those kind of weird, inexplicable injuries or pains or tightness that keeps happening, right? Or just, again, all of that, our relationship to our body. Do we always feel like we're not happy with our body? We need to be doing the next thing. I need to, get on that diet, but that hasn't worked for me. Ugh, I give up, right? Oh, but maybe I should do this high intensity thing that I saw. And, really finding that true contentment in our body so it can feel good physically, mentally, do the things we want to do. And just, do we need a justification for wanting to just feel good, right? In all senses of the word. And that's what we do together, particularly in the personal training and more physical side of our work. So if any of this resonates with you, please reach out to me. You'll have to check on my website, but oftentimes, intermittently, I do offer a one free session for new clients. So you can check and see if that is currently available to you. It allows us to get to know one another a bit more, get to know our work, and so you can see if that's available. You can always shoot me an email. I'll make sure my information is listed here, and obviously it's on the website below. And I so look forward to connecting with you. Thanks so much, guys.